Richie Moluno, a software developer, and I work as a core contributor to the Open Science Saudi Arabia community. So at Open Science Saudi Arabia, what we basically do, we basically work on open source projects and aim to improve accessibility among other non-English speaking countries, with key emphasis on Arabic speaking countries, most of which our sources can be attributed. So my wonderful team members, which are Patul, Amis, and Goodness Sandy. So all my team members, some of them speak more than one language, which will be very, very important, key to note in the upcoming presentation. So today I'll be speaking on the topic, bridging JavaScript documentation with Quartos. Now, have you ever encountered a scenario where you try to contribute to an open source project and you find out that the documentation is way, way, way out of date compared to the current implemented features? Or let's say another scenario where you're implementing a new feature on a project and you're now tasked with the responsibility of updating the documentation, and you find out that that same documentation is way, way out of date, and you have to spend more time to bring it up to date before even documenting a new feature. Some of these are the issues we face while contributing to open source projects. And this brings us to the need for very, very good documentation. So some of the qualities of good documentation we can say a good documentation has to be very, very comprehensive. It has to be well maintained. And this is very, very crucial to open source projects, because the study also shows that 93% of developers consider comprehensive documentation as very, very, very crucial to open source projects. While contributing to these open source projects, there might be some challenges and complications I might face. One of which is the inconsistency and how outdated these documentations can be. Like I explained earlier, these open source projects might be very, very rich in features, but the documentation fails to do justice to these features by covering how these features can be used, how they can be contributed to, be adapted to other contributors. Another issue we also face while contributing to open source projects is the difficulty in localizing these documentations, which this has more to do with presenting this documentation to a wider audience, to non-English speaking contributors, because most of the documentation, like we all know, is well documented in English, or not all, but they fail to account for contributors from other parts of the world which might not speak English as a native language. Although, while considering these complications and shortcomings, there are existing tools that help to mitigate these shortcomings, some of which are SphinxJS, Jupyter Notebooks, and Python. These tools, to some extent, help with these issues I will face while generating good documentation. But there's a little drawback with these tools, which is these tools fail to fully support JavaScript. These tools fail to fully support JavaScript. So now this brings us to the question, how can we then streamline the process of generating documentation for JavaScript projects? Now, a good solution to this, a one-word solution to this, is JSquarto. So basically, JSquarto is a tool that helps with generating documentation, streamlines the process of generating documentation with just one click. And this tool works by implementing different features common with existing tools and existing technologies, one of which is JSdoc. So with JSdoc, you have the ability to generate documentation from basically comments within your JavaScript project. So in this case, you don't have to break your flow, having to dedicate separate or extra time to code and dedicate extra time to document your code. So why not just document your code while working on projects directly? So basically what JSdoc does, it extracts your code comments and builds on that code comments and onto your documentation. So you can see on the left, you can see the code comments that describes how the function is being used. and these code commits are now extracted to form your code documentation. So how JSquarto implements these features for JS circuits, with one line, you can